Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I am actually feeling, this is kind of weird, but I'm actually feeling a little sluggish right now. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't lie. Um, I'm recording this in the morning hours. Obviously, the show comes out in the morning at Thursday, but, behind the scenes magic, just to, delve in a little bit, I pre-tape these. They're not live on Thursday morning. They are recorded prior to when they come out. So, just a little behind the scenes. If you weren't really sure how this worked, there you go. But I'm recording this in the morning hours of the day. I got to be honest with you. I woke up a little on the slower side. Don't know why. Had optimal sleep, got like about 7.5 hours of sleep, so I should be, fully primed and ready to go for the day. But I'll be honest with you, when I forced myself up, I did not feel 100%. Not really sure why. Maybe it's because just drained, working out, work, all that stuff, go. Or it's just like maybe I'm catching something. I'm not 100% sure yet. I know people where I work were getting sick last week and a little bit into this week. So maybe I'm kind of getting the tail end of that. I'm getting like the last bits of that, possibly. I don't feel sick. I just feel a little on the tired side, which is not good. In fact, I actually hate that quite a bit. I'm not somebody who likes to be limited from physical limitations, like being sick. Because being sick, it's not really physical per se. Like I don't have like a broken arm or a broken leg, but it can make me feel like I got a bit of a physical limitation, which is not good. For somebody like me, that requires, optimal physical peakness and who expects nothing short of 100% effort given in everyday life. Like I don't handle that all that well. That's why I hate being sick. I absolutely despise being ill. It's not something that I take pleasure in. I remember when I was in school, I would pray to the Heavenly Father, please grant me sickness, O Lord. I don't want to go to school, because when I was a kid, I never got sick. It was just something that never really happened to me. And I was like, yo, God, make me sick so I don't have to go to school. But he never did. So maybe it's a genetic thing. Maybe I'm just blessed with beautiful genes that don't allow me to get sick that often. I mean, I don't know. I did get my flu shot as a kid, so maybe that was helping me out. But I remember that there were kids all the time back in school. They got sick every week. They skipped so much school. They didn't have to turn in their homework. They moved on to the next grade after that. So I'm like, well, you didn't do that bad to get held back. So, hey, God, how come I can't get blessed with a few days here and there, or a day a week of being out of school and everything be okay? I just don't understand, But then again, I remember I was sick one time in school, one time. One day I was gone, out, sick, cold, in bed, coughing, sneezing, all that stuff. And I came back the next day. And the teacher's like, oh, you missed quite a day. You missed a very important day. I'm like, yeah. I mean, they're all important to you, but really. And then it turned out I was actually, quite behind after that. I had a few assignments put on us, and what we had to do in a short period of time. I'm like, holy crap. I don't want to get sick ever again. What the heck is all this crap? You have to actually do the work that you missed after you were sick. That blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute. You don't just get excused from all the things that you missed that day for being sick? I thought you would, but it turns out you don't. You got to continue what you missed, which is just absolutely insane. It's like, Hell, I wouldn't even want to get sick anymore, because if I'm going to get this far behind on my assignments, then no way. No how. I can't afford that. I'm already lazy as it is. One day of just not being in school, nah, man, I'm okay. And then after that, I was like rarely ever sick. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe being sick is not a blessing from the Heavenly Father. Maybe it is truly something that you want to avoid like the plague, literally. Like, and I was, after that, I'm like, you know what? Being sick ain't worth it, because I don't want to get behind again and be expected to complete the work that I missed. It's like, you got 2 study guides to do. You got a word search. You got a times table. You got to, look this up and write a report. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? That's stupid. You can get thrown off. And back then, it was in high school. So you had multiple classes and multiple assignments that you had missed, and you were behind. It's like, geez. And you look at the guy who's like sick every week, like, brother, how do you do it? How the heck do you do it? I mean, like, I know I'm like not the best student, but neither are you. So like, how are you staying afloat? I just didn't understand. Like, maybe that guy was just built different. Maybe he was just so used to being sick that he just, was like, it was like, this is just part of my life, pal. Like, I'm behind all the time. This is just how I live my life. I'm like, bro, I don't want to have to deal with that at all. Being behind in things is never a good sign, right? Being behind is something that you just want to avoid. And when you get older, when you become an adult, a man, you really don't want to have that feeling of being behind on something, or being behind in general. You want to be ahead. People always talk about like getting ahead, right? Getting ahead in whatever it is in life, in the situation, at your workplace, school, whatever. Getting ahead is always preached as and told to you as like a thing that you should strive to do, right? And I agree with that. Getting ahead is far more better than falling behind. Yeah, getting ahead is like almost like an advantage over your opponent. I'm not saying that you're directly competing in school with other kids, but you kind of are. School is a competition that is, at least in my eyes, like you can view it now as competing with other students in the class on who's better, who's smarter, who has it in them, who's got that dog in them to be better, who's a better homework finisher, who's got the best test scores, who's got the best who's got the best assignments, who's the best writer, who can complete their work the quickest. Now obviously the quickest might not be the best, but it is a stat, right? It shows you that, hey, this guy is quick at what he does. He might not be perfect, but he has room to grow, right? You think about it. Quickness, they can't, you can't, they always say in sports and especially football, you can't teach speed, right? You're blessed with speed, right? And that's true. Like, I can't run very fast. When I was a kid, like a young kid, right? When I was like in 4th grade, I thought I could run like the wind. I thought it was so fast because I only knew the speed that I could generate from my little legs. I knew that I was quick. I felt it. When you run really fast, when you were playing kickball on the field or football or, dodgeball, maybe not dodgeball, but, just like the casual race, on the school field back when you were a kid. You felt the wind go past your ears. You felt like you were almost hitting the flow state where you're like, oh man, I'm so quick, right? You could feel how fast you were, right? We only know our own speed because, we can't experience another person's speed, right? So when I'm running and I'm feeling that wind go past my ears, and I'm just like zooming across the field, whatever I'm doing, right? Maybe just taking a run or maybe chasing somebody, right? Tag, hide and seek, those type of things in school. You feel fast. I felt like I was like the Flash at that point. I felt like I could not be stopped, that nobody was faster than me. Until you got a little older, right? In 5th grade, we started having like organized like junior track and field events. Like, they weren't like actually like, like in high school where you have an audience and your parents there and you're competing with other schools. Like, no, you're just competing with the kids in your grade. So we had like these organized like track and field events that the teachers would assign for us, right? We'd have like the 50-yard dash, the long jump, the high jump, the relay. I think like the maybe the mile, and I think one was just like a one lap around the schoolyard, who could finish first, right? It wasn't. I think another one was probably who can kick the ball the farthest. That might have been one. I think I did okay on that one, but yeah, whatever. But like fifth grade, rolled along, right? And I was, I thought it was quick. I did. I thought it was very, very fast. Like everybody in school thinks they're fast, right? Everybody, until you're put up against the competition in your grade, and then you're like, you're ready. Like I was confident. I was like ready to like blow past these kids. I wasn't like the most physically fit or the tallest kid. I was actually kind of shorter at the time. I didn't grow until I got to high school. And then I was like up against these guys. I'm like, I know these guys. I know I'm quicker. In my head, I'm like, I'm faster than you. I know I am. I just know it. And then, we're at the starting point. Ready to go. Teacher blows a whistle. I take off. Right. I'm running so fast, so quick, as fast as I've ever run in my entire life. Right. This moment, my entire dream, my entire purpose of thinking that I'm fast has led me to this moment in my life. Like this is my time to shine, to prove to everybody that I am fast. I'm quick. I can't be catched. I can't be caught. I won't be caught. I won't be catched. I won't be beat. I am the fastest. As I'm running as fast as I possibly can, I'm giving it my all, right? I'm giving it everything I have. Every other guy passes me. And I'm trying so hard to keep up, but I physically cannot keep up. My legs, my joints, my muscles are not able to move as fast as these other guys. And they pass me. And I'm like, I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not fast at all. And then that's where you like kind of like differentiate yourself, and you're like, well, I guess I suck. It just kind of like goes into your brain like, whoa, like I'm not quick at all. And then of course I didn't give up, right? I tried again and again and again until I got to junior high. Still like these like, these just like in the PE classes, like these like events that we would do, like the 50-yard dash. Like I said, we even did the hurdles, and even those I lost as well. I lost those so painfully. I'm like, you know what? I guess I'm just not quick. I'm not fast at all. I have no speed. Absolutely no speed. And of course, I'm thinking like in junior high, like I'm still pretty quick. I can still run. But, that's when, the athlete comes into people. That's when they begin to, develop. They're like, oh, who's going to be the high school football player? You're getting like, or basketball player. You're like, because in junior high, we kind of have more school-based organized sports, right? So there are school teams. So people are already becoming athletic, and I was not athletic at all. So like I even got beat in the sprint even more like horrendous than I did in fifth grade. So I'm like, oh man, like this running thing, this being quick and fast, this ain't for me. I can't do it, But that's just because, it goes back to the point you can't teach speed, right? You can only teach like, coach or teach like how to utilize that speed, right? If someone's a fast test taker, right? Maybe because like they know the basic knowledge of things and they just kind of go with like their first like instinct of the choice. Like if you have like a multiple choice test, right? And like if you have like a good test, right? Like a test that's like made to challenge you and like kind of have like two, like say if you have a choice between A, B, C, and D. One is the clear answer, but the rest are like very similar or could be the right answers, right? Those are like good and challenging tests. There's some tests that you take that are like, there's one clear answer where if you did study at all, you'll get it, But I think that at that point, like, if you have like the speed, right? If you're good at that, you can just kind of like discipline yourself a little more in your studying habits to make it so like, hey, I'm quick at finding like what's correct and what's not correct, and like, the process of elimination. And I just got to, work on the fine details of what's correct and what is not correct, right? I'll be honest with you, I totally forgot what I was talking about earlier, but it sounded important. So I guess I'll just move on. This is kind of embarrassing, but that's what happens usually when I do a podcast by myself. When I talk to myself, is like I have no one to reel me in on what I was talking about because there's no one here. Last week somebody won that big lottery, the Powerball one, which I think was at the point of $1.8 billion. Thinking about that, like everybody that I knew was like talking about the Powerball. Like, oh, what's it going to be? Or who's going to win it? Are you going to buy a ticket? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy a ticket. I probably should buy a ticket, but I'm not going to buy a ticket. I think it was somebody in Texas that won it. So, like, I mean, even if it, which is crazy because, like, Texas is, like, a super populated state, but so is California, where I'm from. So, like, I would feel like one of the bigger populated states would get the winner. But I was thinking about it and like talking to like my coworkers and all that and people I know, like, what would you do with the Powerball winnings if you won it, right? If I had won it, I'm a pretty simple guy. I think what I would do is, well, for sure, what I know I would do is take and I actually. I was talking about it at work and I had like this, general thing of what I would do, but I've kind of like started to like, fantasize about like, what if I actually did win? Like, what would I actually do with that money? What would I do? How would I use it? What would I do with my life at that moment I do? So this is just like a very like surface based level of like what I would do. I'm not going to go into like super detailed things of what I would be like using that money for, but like just like this is just like the basic like what I would do, gut reaction as soon as I win that money, right? I would go away for a year to like a very like island paradise, like Fiji or the Maldives, and just like I actually just like lay on a beach for like a year. Like just lay there. Not like like just like be like on a beach. Like a nice, tropical like getaway, and just kind of like chill. Like the Maldives, Fiji, Hawaii, one of those places. Just like relax. Maybe learn how to surf. Maybe just like relax and just like learn to swim, scuba dive, maybe buy a boat, sail, try to get really good at surfing. Surfing seems like a really cool hobby, like a really like rich hobby, kind of like if you have like a lot of time to go surf, you're probably pretty wealthy. So like I would try to do that. Scuba dive, like I said, snorkeling, boat, maybe not like a super big boat, like just like a small boat that can like take me from the island to like a little far out to sea, and then just come back whenever I want to, whenever I'm like hungry or something like that, and just like chill. I feel like that would be like one of the coolest things to do for like just like a year, is just to chill, like, and see how that treats me, because I'm a super like grindy guy, like rise and grind type of guy. Like I enjoy that. I enjoy the adversity of what life gives you, because I think it's really cool that we have the opportunity to grow and grind out a day, which is like, to me, beautiful, because like, what are you going to do if you're not doing that? Are you just going to lay down and just rot? Like, I guess you could, but it's like, I mean, what's the point of doing that when you can actually be like doing something that's like, it puts like, gives you a little bit of struggle and adversity in your life. I feel like everyone kind of needs adversity or some struggle in their life to like really get the essence of what truly living is all about. If you're just like a lazy person all day, every single day, like you never done anything that's like somewhat challenging to you, or is like a challenging new experience, and it's like, well, what the heck are you even doing? Like, do you have like any sort of purpose or anything, any sort of perspective of what it means to be challenged on a day-to-day basis? Or like, it doesn't have to be that hard. Just like, dealing with certain people that you probably don't get along with, or people that, you know, expect a lot out of you, and you having to meet those expectations. It's super, it just baffles me that people just like don't do anything like that, or have like no struggle in their life, because I think that life is really, it's not an easy thing. Life is very hard. It's very challenging at times. And I feel like if you're just kind of getting by with like doing absolutely nothing, like being a bum, being unemployed, just laying on your couch doing absolutely nothing, like it's just like, what, pal, come on. You don't even know what life's all about. You haven't been through enough struggle. You haven't earned to relax. You need to earn your relaxation by struggle and grinding in the adversity of life. Like, if you're just on your couch, just being unemployed, a bum, it's like, you haven't earned that. Like, you haven't earned it to relax. I'm sorry, you just haven't earned it. But I would like go to an island for like a year, just a tropical paradise, and just chill for a year. See what that's like. Maybe like do some exploring. Maybe if it's like a Hawaii, like climb a mountain or something, like go into a volcano. Maybe like collect a seashell. Maybe do some hikes. Travel in Hawaii. Go to like a bunch of World War II museums and like just take a bunch of photos of things. Maybe go on like a Navy ship. Maybe, take a helicopter ride somewhere. Do some really cool stuff. That would be freaking awesome. It's just like maybe I'll do like an island hopping campaign where I just go to all these tropical islands and just kind of explore what's there. And like just like have a lot of fun, tropical fun. Get a nice tan going on. Just wear Hawaiian and beach shirts all day and just have fun. That'd be cool for like a year. I know I kind of like just like said like at first it would be like one tropical paradise, and now I'm like thinking like, well, I can go to multiple because I just won the lottery and I'd be a billionaire. So like I would do like an island hopping, like cool vacation campaign for a year. That'd be sick. And then after that, I think what I would do is like do another vacation, but this time it'd be like a just like a journey, right? Just like an exploration, like an expedition, almost like my own expedition, just like venturing through Europe, like from east to west, like just try to see everything for like another year. Just like take the time and just like go from like Romania or something and go all the way to London or England, and then just like explore everything that Europe has to offer. Like there's so much things that I'm like interested in, like historically, like places and all that, and different cultures and what they think and like how they operate and like what their life is like and like their food and all that, the architecture, the history, the traditions. Is like, how cool would it be, dude, to like go to Greece and just see all those like ancient monuments and just kind of like go up to them and see them and like appreciate them and like just kind of like imagine what it would be like when this structure was fully built and like fully like not like eroded and not like half destroyed. How cool that would be to see that and just be like, dude, this is so sick. Like, this is incredible. Like, I would love to do that for like a year. Just like go through Greece, Italy, France, Germany, Denmark, all like the northern European, like Finland, Norway, Sweden. Go back down, you got the Netherlands, you got Spain, Portugal, like Switzerland, like all those places of just like, there's so much history there. and I would just like chill in Europe and just be like, yo, what's up? I'm just chilling. I'm just passing by. I'm a journeyman. Like I'm an explorer. I probably get like a super like cool like explorer outfit, like Indiana Jones, like with a fedora and everything, and just kind of like just like freaking like live a cool adventure. Like that'd be so cool just to do that. Just like kind of like take my life into my own hands and just like adventure out there, like with no one else, just myself. And I would just be like, yo, what's up, Europe? And just kind of like stroll through it. Maybe go to like a fashion show in Italy. Maybe have like a nice like cup of tea in England. Eat like a croissant in France. Eat a sausage in Germany. Um, eat like a ton of pizza in Italy. Spaghetti, pasta, lasagna, all that stuff. Buy like a sword from Greece. Go to Macedonia. Wouldn't that be awesome? And I just like a year in Europe. That would be sick as heck. And then like maybe after that, like a year of the islands and a year of Europe. I would do like a year in um uh Asia, Japan, China, India, and I venture my way into the Middle East, like see like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, uh, Israel, all those places, and just taking all the history and just seeing all that stuff. And for sure, like Egypt is for sure, like Giza, the pyramids, and just like walk up to them and like be like, whoa, this is freaking cool. Like I am like right at the doorstep of the pyramids of Giza. How cool is this? And I would just be like, it'd be like my own journey. I'd just be like on my journey of just like, exploring things and like just seeing like what it's all about. That would just be so awesome to do. And I feel like if I did win that big jackpot lottery, dude, like that would be so possible and that would be so doable. And then after that, maybe just buy a few houses, one on the East Coast, one in like the West Coast, maybe one in like Montana or something, and maybe like a beach house somewhere like that. That'd be so cool, just to have like houses pretty much everywhere in the country, just where you could like chill out, go live somewhere, vacation. That'd be so sick just to have that at the ready. I think that if you won that much of money, you would have like all that set, and so much more after that. Then after I'm settled, I've had my adventures and I've settled down. I have my houses. I got my own properties. I have a place to live. I got food and I got power and all that. I would really take the time, to reflect and as I would be on my journeys, for the years after I win the lottery, I would be coming up with ideas to make films. Like my dream would be with that money to start up a movie production studio, like just a movie studio in Hollywood, just like stamp my flag there and be like, this is my studio where we're going to be making movies, and like just like be inspired by my journeys and like my ideas and what I would have, and just like make movies. Because if one thing is certain, man, I love cinema. I love cinema. I love watching movies. I love the storytelling of a movie. I love the just the variety of movies out there that just like that I love, that shape my mind, that shape my upbringing, and that just like I just the movies that I love to watch are just like so like awesome, and like it would be so cool to make a movie like that, or a similar movie that's like kind of like that but in the style of this. Like, man, like just like being able to tell like a story like that and the beautiful way of filming it and creating it through that way. And I'm one of those guys where it'd be like, I would write the movie and then I would direct the movie. I'm very much a person that believes in um if you write the movie, you should direct the movie. I firmly believe that, because let me tell you this, in Hollywood, there are directors that direct movies. The directors don't always write the movies. They usually have a writer that writes a movie, and the director's like, oh, I like this. This is pretty cool. I'll direct this. I would be somebody more like a Quentin Tarantino, maybe more recently a Christopher Nolan, where you become like a writer-director. You take ownership in what you create and what you see, how you write it out, how you visualize it, and then bring it to life. I'm like that type of person. When I had projects like that in college, having to write, a script essentially, and then actually film it, like it was like the funnest thing that I have ever done, is being able to write out an idea, write out a scene, how you're going to shoot it, what's it going to look like, have an actor there, which is crazy, but it's cool. And then kind of direct the scene of how you want it to come out. You envision it in a way, and then you film it. And then it either works or it doesn't work. But it's still a very fun and a very like creative process that you go through, that's like really, really fun. Some people get kind of scared about that. A lot of people in that class like were just in it for the elective credit, but I was in there because I was interested. And it was just like, some people can be nervous. Some people could just like kind of, back away from it and not take advantage of it or not take control. But it's just like, when I was in that, I was like, dude, this is like my element. Like, this is just so cool. Like, I mean, because I watch a lot of cinema, a lot of movies, and I'm inspired by a lot of that stuff. Like, you kind of take, what you saw in a movie that you liked and just kind of implement it there. And it's like, whoa, this is actually so much fun. Like, it adds like so much more character, personality to what I'm shooting. I mean, it's just like a lot of fun. So if I had won that lottery, that'd be like my dream, like, investment would be to make movies. And, based on like what I have, I probably would not completely, well, I would run the studio, but I wouldn't be able to be hands-on in every single thing. But I would employ like a lot of people and filmmakers and writers that like have like a vision of making just good movies, no matter what it is, what characters they have, what ideas it may be, what themes they might have and ways they want to shoot it. Like I am so like I'm just hooked on good cinema, whether it be big or small. Like if it's like a good idea and we can make a movie out of it, like that would be so freaking cool. Just to make, and to see it out and for it to come to life, literally. That would be an awesome thing. That would be like my, like, some people want to do stocks, some people want to invest in like Bitcoins and all that. I would just invest in like making movies, hard work, right? Like actual work that, that is required to make a movie. That would be so cool to do. It's like a dream of mine. That would be sick. That would be like what I would do if I had won that lottery. I did end up watching, or not entirely watching, but I did see what the new iPhones I watch, Apple Watches, AirPods Pro announcements. Not the whole thing, but just some like highlights of what's coming out. I gotta say, man, the iPhones lineup this year is a little strange to me. We have the iPhone 17 coming out in the regular size and then the jumbo size. Then we have the iPhone 17 Pro, regular size and jumbo size as well, Pro and Pro Max. And then we have the iPhone Air, which is a super thin, middle of the pack lineup of the phones. In the middle, 17's like statistically not as well. I don't know. 17 is priced cheaper than the Air, and then the Pro is more than the Air. So price-wise, the highest price is the Pros, then the Air, and then the 17. And I was looking at those phones, and I was like thinking to myself, like, Some strange design choices, I will say. The Pro and the Pro Max have this like, rectangular, what they're calling a plateau at the top, the top back portion of the phone. That's just like, just like a giant like, just part that just kind of sticks out of the phone, which is kind of a weird design. But they explained it is like, we're gonna have like more space to put stuff in the phone at this expanded part of the phone at the top of it, in order for us to make it so we can add more battery. It could be cooled easier. Everything's not going to be so compact. It won't be as cramped in there, and giving us more room for battery, which is like a yay. That's good. At the same time, it's kind of a weird design. So it's like you already were not able to put your phone, back face down and be flat on a surface for quite a few years with iPhones. Now you like really cannot. It's like going to be like at the point where it's just like, you got this big, what they call plateau at the back top of the phone. It's like, it's going to be a little strange. I'll be honest. Like looking at it for the first time, you're like, well, this is just kind of like a progression of like what they've been doing so far. They were just getting bigger and bigger with that, raised part of the back of the phone. But now it's more than just like a plastic or glass piece. It's like now just like they've just said straight up, we're putting more of the internals in there so we can make room for the battery, which is a good thing. I just want to know, like, when is it going to be the point where they just flat out make a thicker phone, like all around thicker? They've been trying to be compact and like cheating their way a little bit just to try to be as thin as possible with these phones. And I remember there was a point where like the phones were just getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And then there became a point where like, you know what, we got to expand this because, we got to make more battery. It's got to last longer. In order to do that, we got to get a bigger battery. So like, we just got to make the phone bigger. And I think for me, with a smartphone like that, with an iPhone, you got to make like the battery the priority. It's just got to be the number one thing that you focus on, because we're going to be using that thing all day, every day. The battery's got to be there. It's just got to be there. There's no cutting corners when it comes to like, what are we able to shave off? Like, we cannot. If I'm Apple or a smartphone manufacturer out there, you cannot sacrifice battery for like a small like feature that somebody might or might not use. Battery's got to be the number one priority when it comes to that stuff. It's just got to be. There's like no way you could like get away with telling people and audiences like, hey, we're going to put out an iPhone or a new phone. We got these really, really cool features, but the battery's not going to be as good as a previous battery on the other phones. Like, that won't sell well. There's a lot of people that analyze these phones for a living. Their career is to analyze the heck out of these phones. And for them to, see what these phones are capable of, what they can do, and what they can't do. I'm a big fan of MKBHD. Marquise Brownlee on YouTube. I go to that guy all the time whenever I'm like looking to buy like a new piece of tech or something. Phone, watch, computer, whatever, right? He's my guy. And I've learned by watching this guy is that he's very honest in what he thinks about these phones. Any phones, watches, laptops, anything, any tech that he reviews. He's very honest, and he points out the factors, or what's going to sell you and what's going to, push you away. And so far, I cannot really see a big reason to purchase the new iPhone Air. I've looked at it. I've seen it. It's like a much more like prettier looking phone. It's like got this titanium shiny, band around it. If I didn't mention before, the iPhone 17s and the 17 Pros are made of an aluminum unibody, which, if you remember from the past times I talked about the new iPhone launches, the previous two phones, the 15 and the 16s, both made out of titanium. And I thought to myself, like, once they went to titanium from the 14 to the 15, from stainless steel to titanium. Like, well, titanium's going to be the new standard. That's going to be it. Like they can't go back, they can't go forward, or if they go forward, what's it going to be made out of? I have no idea. Well, turns out with this new one, the 17s and the 17 Pros, they went back. They went back a step, maybe even 2 steps, to aluminum. Which, if you remember, which phones last had aluminum that had a lot of issues was the 6, the 7s, and the 8s. I believe the 8s. Mainly beginning with the 6s. Those were made out of aluminum, and I remember like it was just yesterday. I had bought in the 6 Plus when it came out, and the thing bent in my pocket over time. So I have a little bit of an experience with phones that are made out of aluminum. So I'm going to be like a little skeptical. I'll be honest. Like, should I get the big boy or just the regular guy? I'm leaning more towards the Pro Max just because I already have a Pro Max and I'm like used to it. And I just like having a bigger phone. But the aluminum, I'm not going to lie, is a little concerning because, like, for one, it's a cheaper metal. It's more bendable than titanium or stainless steel. So like you already have that in the back of my head, like this thing could bend easily over time, and I don't want that to happen. Now they've said that there is a coating on it that makes it more durable. The screen is more durable, the camera, is better, the battery's better, the processing chip is all better, the ray tracing is better, the GPU or the CPU is better, like everything's better, right? But it's just like I don't know if I like the way that the build is on it. The camera's kind of goofy. The aluminum is kind of weak. The fact that there's only 3 colors for the Pro lineup is weak as hell. There's a silver, an orange, and a dark blue. Like, where's black? Like, this is just kind of weak. I'm not. In terms of the lineup of colors for the Pro, not good. Like, just not good. Like, you have to have a black there. You can't just, like, you can't have, like, a silver, which is essentially white, orange, and blue. You got to have black. Like, the first iPhones were black. Like, you got to have black phones. Like, I don't know what it was or why they decided not to do black, but, like, maybe it was just because of the cost and everything. Like, they could not just, have 4 colors like they used to in the past. Like, they had to trim it down to 3. And honestly, if I was them, Apple, I would cut that orange out. Just do silver, black, and deep blue. Like, I wouldn't even bother with orange, I'll be honest. Like, I know some people are going to like it. Some people are going to buy it for sure because it's unique, it stands out, it's cool, it's bright. I agree. It is all that, but you got to have a black. You just got to. As a smartphone, like, manufacturer, you just got to. There's something about black that's just, like, sleek, professional, and just, like, neat. You just got to have it. It's got to be one of the options with a smartphone. So that one, is looking to be, to me, to be the one that's like, I'm probably going to buy the Pro Max one when it's available. The watches, the watches has been like the at least like the regular series watches, like we're on the series 11 now, they just announced it. It looks the same. I mean, they claim it's better internally, it's a little bit thinner, but like I have such an issue with the Apple watches because, like, I get it, they do what they're supposed to do. They're nicer in design wise. They're going to be a good piece of tech. I have a Series 4, which is badly, battery sucks on that thing. It's slow. Sometimes it takes a while to load things. And I'm in need for an upgrade with the watch. But like every time I just see the new watches come out, year after year after year, just like barely making any improvements, barely, having any, newer designs to them, I'm just like, this is just boring. Like I'm just bored of it. I'm bored. And I, I don't know, man. I just think that, um the the watches are just not like very they're just not like they're just not there for me. Like I the watches just to me are just like boring. I every time I see one, I'm just like, I'm bored out of my mind looking at it. And I'm almost like bored out of my mind to the point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just don't need an Apple Watch. Maybe I don't want an Apple Watch anymore. Maybe I don't. I know it's like cool because it's a watch, you need to tell time, but what's so bad about having like a good old-fashioned mechanical watch? Like a mechanical watch like might be in my future. Like maybe I'll just buy like a pretty cool looking mechanical watch and just call it a day. And that's it. Maybe I'll just skip on an Apple Watch. I don't know, but then there's like the whole fitness tracking, and I work out a lot, and I just want to know all those statistics, and it's good for that. But like, I don't know if it's like worth like $450 for that. But then again, like I'm a sucker for Apple, so like I don't know. But I'm gonna look at them more, delve deep into them, and see really what stands out. Maybe I won't even get the 11. Maybe I'll like just get like the 10. If it doesn't really like pop out, like this is such a good like improvement, and from the surface of it, from what I've seen, it does not look like the best improvement or enough of an improvement for me. So I'm just going to be like, really looking at it and just saying like, what is the purpose of buying this, and should I buy this? But honestly, like overall, like it's cool to see new phones, and it's cool to see like a new design, even though the design is kind of goofy, and I'm like, why this design? I'm not too sure. But and the fact that the iPhone Air is just super thin too, like very, very, very thin, like paper thin, almost like thinner than like the I think it was like thinner than the iPhone 6, and when that one came out, that was thin as hell too. But that one could also be in danger of bending as well, just because of the thinness of it. Um, but I guess we'll just have to see. I might get that Pro Max though. I might, just because it'll be the newest one, and I do have like I always have like the tendency to get like the like when I upgrade, which I am gonna do this year, to get like the best option I can, just because I think that it would be beneficial to me. And I just want to have like the best thing. I don't want to have like the second best thing, right? I want the best that they have. That's just how I think about it. Moving on though, to the NFL. NFL Week 1 is in the books. There's a couple things I want to get off my chest first before I talk about the scores of the week and looking ahead. Fox and CBS, and I guess you could say NBC. No, not NBC, but Fox and CBS got new score bugs. If you don't know what a score bug is, it is what is constantly at the bottom center of the screen when you're watching a football game. It's essentially just the score and the time and all that. The downs, who has the ball, the game clock, the play clock, that is the score bug, right? And CBS has had their like they're horizontal, like on the bottom, taking up pretty much the entire bottom portion of your TV screen, score bug, for a very long time. Fox has kind of been like going back and forth with like these score bugs, just kind of looking a more center bottom, and now they've gone like this. They've gone toward this like minimalist, like very like minimal score bug, which is like, I think they debuted at the Super Bowl this past season. And now CBS has changed their score bug too to pretty much look almost identical to the Fox one. But I'm actually a big fan of them. I really am. Like, I think that CBS needed a upgrade in their score bug, and they got it. I actually dig them quite a bit. They look very similar, which I was wondering, like, was that the intention to look as similar as they do? Because at first I was like, wait, is this Fox or is this CBS? I'm not too sure which one this is. But I was able to differentiate them, and I'm like, you know what? This is kind of cool. Like, they both just have like the logo of the team. Like, they don't have like the abbreviated location. They just have like the straight up the logo on their team, of the team actually. And I was like, you know what? This is nice. This is nice and clean. It's uniform. It's not messy. It's just very simple and clean, and I like it. I like it a lot. So that was interesting, for them to do that. NBC's is the same. ESPN's is the same. So I was just, kind of shocked, honestly, because we had not seen CBS's or Fox's up until this point on Sunday during the day games. So, like, it was cool to see that. YouTube got into the NFL, right? They had the YouTube game from between the Chargers and the Chiefs, which was a decent game. YouTube did a pretty good job at not crashing down during that game. It was actually handled pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. I remember, I think, like, when the Netflix had like the Tyson and Jake Paul fights, like, that stream was just crap, like, for like 50% of the fight. I was a little worried that YouTube might have that similar problem. They did not, which was, good. I do think that YouTube is a little less strict on, like, how they broadcast their game. This is like their first, like, sporting event, I believe, like, or NFL game ever. So it was cool to see how they had, like, the pregame, the postgame, halftime, and all that. It was cool to see, how they made it, their own. I did not really enjoy how they had, like, segments from, like, Mr. Beast and all, like, these YouTubers. I think it was just kind of cringe at that point. Like, I get it. Like, you're streaming the NFL on YouTube. Why would you not have some of your big money makers on there? I understand that, but it's just at the same time, like, I'm here to watch a game. I'm here to watch football. Like, I don't need to see Mr. Beast give me a segment on something that's, like, football adjacent, And I get that the game was in Brazil, right? It was like the Chiefs and the Chargers home opener, or just opener. They have to play in another country, which always kind of sucks, And I'm not saying that because I hate exposing the game to other countries. I hate it because you are taking that away from the fans of those teams back in the States. Like, Chiefs and Chargers is a divisional game. Like, those games need to be played in the United States with the fans of those teams in their stadiums. It needs to be like that. I'm sorry. It just has to. Why are we the only sports league where we play our league games that matter in other countries? I understand where the Premier League does it, where they do preseason games in other countries. That's totally fine. Preseason doesn't really count. It doesn't count at all, actually. But your league games, where they matter, should be in front of the fans of those teams in the cities that they are in. I'm sorry, but that's just how it should be. I don't like these games overseas. I just don't. For one, it was cool every once in a while, right? Maybe once a year they had the London game. Maybe, and they upped it to 2, then to 3. Then they had, like, other countries coming, like Germany, Brazil, Dublin. There's going to be one in Spain, Brazil. Like, there was one in Mexico. It's just like, there's just so many league games that are important to the fans of those teams in the cities of those teams, that those games should not be taken away from those fans. I'm sorry, but they should not. They just shouldn't. Like, the Kansas City and Los Angeles Chargers game should have been in Los Angeles, where the Kansas City fans were able to travel much easier to get to that game. And then the LA fans could just drive there. It's not that hard. Don't take away our game, please. I'm begging you, NFL, do not do this. You need to stop. I get it. You want to be a global game, but don't forget about the fans that are in the United States. Please do not forget that. Do not. The game itself was good, though. It was entertaining for the most part. The Chiefs look really bad. I have Justin Herbert on my fantasy team, so I look like a freaking genius. He looks incredible. He looks like Tom Brady, honestly. He looked awesome. And as far as like having a halftime show from I think her name is Carol G. I've never heard of her up until that game. I'm like, who's this? What are we doing here? But apparently she's very popular. Very, very pretty woman. I'll give her that. She's a gorgeous woman. But I don't need a halftime show on the opener. I just don't need it. I get it. It's because of the globalization of a game. But at the end of the day, it's like I don't watch football to watch halftime shows. I watch football to watch football. I fear that my game that I love is being turned into just flat out entertainment. And that's not what football is. It's a sport. It's not a show. We need to stop making it a show. Super Bowl is different. Sure, whatever. You can make it a show and a game, but also know what you have. Know what you are. You're a sport. You're a game. Make it that. Keep it that. Do not toxify it with other crap that's going to make it not what it is. I'm not a fan of that. I'm sorry, I'm just not. And I won't let you do that to my game. So yeah, it was cool to see it in Brazil, sure, but like I'd prefer it be in the States. I'm sorry. Keep it for the fans. This is our game, you know. Our league games should be played on our league stadiums. Is that hard to it's not that hard to accept. It's actually pretty easy. You know, make those games that matter, which, yeah, it's the first game, but it's divisional. That should be played at our home stadiums. I'm sorry, but that's just how it should be. Don't make the first opening game of those teams be in a different country. Don't do it. I think it's very silly. Very stupid. They kind of learned their lesson from last year by having literally the opening game of the season be in Brazil again last year. That was stupid as hell. And now they're like, oh, we'll make it the second game of the season. Like, shut up. Yeah, just not a fan of that at all. Like, just keep it for our fans, please. Moving on though to some of the scores from the game, things that transpired, important things that kind of caught my eye. First of all, just having football back is like one of like the best things in my life. You know, like just the air is just a little bit sweeter that football is back. Like I just like there's a pep in my step. I'm smiling more. I'm more energized. I'm happier. I can breathe easier. There's no congestion. It seems cooler. It's not as hot. The days are just like more brighter whenever there's a game on. I'm just more excited from that. I'm just more happier. So I guess we'll just kind of go through them like one by one, just like here and there, you know, just a little points here and there about the games. The Rams beat the Texans 14-9. Expected. I'm a Rams fan. The defense kind of held us for a little bit, but we were able to pull away. You know, great win overall. Puka Nacua, MVP of that game for sure. Matthew Stafford looked incredible. Like, we're all good. Eagles beat the Cowboys 24-20. Cowboys were competitive. You know, obviously the Eagles are a better team. Once that lightning delay hit, you know, there was virtually no scoring at all, so it was kind of like wrapped up at that point. Chargers beat the Chiefs 27-21. Chargers look really good. The Chiefs look so bad. Patrick Mahomes look really bad too. Kind of having to pull it out at the end, but not enough to beat the Chargers, I'll be honest. And Justin Herbert looks incredible. Buccaneers beat the Falcons 23-20. Buccaneers, I had picked them to win that game earlier before. And the Falcons looked pretty good, decent, but just not, you know, not even like where they want to be. Bengals beat the Browns 17-16. Bengals are, you know, actually got a win for the first time, not the first time, but like a win much earlier than they got last year, so that's good. Having known what happened to the Bengals last season, how they just could not get wins, for them to get the first win of the season by 1 point, it's got to be exciting. Colts beat the Dolphins 33-8. This was a big one, like a big head-scratching game, dude. The Colts with Daniel Jones put up 33 points on the Dolphins. The Dolphins look like a team that just does not know each other, that they don't like each other, that they don't like to play for each other or even with each other. This team looks so broken and so just already wants to quit on the season. Just like you can just tell, like just the way that they play, their body language with each other, it's just not there. Like I was watching the highlights and I'm just like, dude, these guys look like they hate each other so much. And the Colts look like rejuvenated in a way. Like they just could not be stopped. Like Daniel Jones was just like, he looked like he was like Eli Manning or Peyton Manning on that field. Jaguars beat the Panthers 26-10. They look better. Panthers looked like just really bad. Bryce Young played bad again. They got some question marks with that. I know they're only 0-1 at the point, the Panthers, but you got to bounce back big time in your next game. Raiders beat the Patriots 20-13. Geno Smith looked pretty good in that game. I'm not going to lie. Geno Smith looked good. Ashton Genty looked good. The culture of that team looks like it's made a shift under Pete Carroll, which I think that all Raiders fans could agree is a good thing. Cardinals beat the Saints 20-13. I mean, that game was really not really showed a lot on Red Zone, I'll be honest. But the Saints had like one of the worst uniforms I've ever seen in my life. They do have good uniforms, like neutral, like regular uniforms. These new ones are just not good. Like, never bring those out again. Steelers beat the Jets 34-32. This was a really awesome game. Really awesome game to just watch. I mean, Aaron Rodgers looked amazing. And so did the Jets for the most part. But someone had to win it, and it was the Steelers. And Aaron Rodgers looked just like really, really good. Like one of the better Steeler quarterbacks since Ben Roethlisberger. And that, I mean, they've been through a lot of quarterbacks since him. So it's like, dang. Seeing how good he is on that team, this is clearly put everything in the bag that we got for 1 year. Let's go. Commanders beat the Giants 21-6. Russell Wilson looked really bad. The Commanders looked okay, but the Giants were just bad in this game. Broncos beat the Titans 20-12. Broncos didn't look that good. Cam Ward looked decent, not terrible, but the Broncos ended up winning that game. 49ers beat the Seahawks 17-13. This was a kind of a good win, but not so good result-wise, because you win the game as the Niners, but Brock Purdy's injured and George Kittle is out for a few weeks, maybe a month or so with a hamstring. So not good for them or my fantasy team, because I did have George Kittle as my starting tight end. So not looking good for me or the Niners, but mainly me. Packers beat the Lions 27-13. The Packers looked incredible. The Lions looked like they were just they couldn't get anything going. Clearly they missed Ben Johnson. This guy was, really good for the Lions, and now they kind of look a little, it's just it's a weird look for them, Bills beat the Ravens 41-40. Game of the week so far, or game of that week for sure. The Ravens had such a good lead in the last 5 minutes of the game and completely blew it to the Bills. And you look at it and you're like, whose fault is it? Is it Lamar Jackson? No, it's John Harbaugh. 100%. You as a head coach, you are responsible for when you lose a game. You cannot let your team lose that game when you're up by that much with 5 minutes to go. It's a 15-point lead. You cannot allow that to happen. I'm sorry. And, John Harbaugh, because he's won a Super Bowl and because he's very consistent in the regular season but cannot get it done in the playoffs. He has been there for a long time, and you think about it, like, is John Harbaugh really the guy to get them to win another Super Bowl? You think probably yes, but like also like at the same time, he's a very safe head coach. Like, he's very consistent in the regular season, but playoffs and when it matters and clutch and win or lose, it's like when the game's on the line, it's like maybe not. And then finally, Monday Night Football, Vikings beat the Bears 27-24. There was a lot to dissect in this game. At one point, Caleb Williams looked okay, 10 for 10 on completions, not a whole lot of yardage, but was getting the ball to his receivers and completing the passes. And at the other time, in the first half, J.J. McCarthy looked like he was completely lost. Did not know what to do. Couldn't see anything. Had a pick six. Was just in the shit. Could not do anything. He looked lost out there. Second half rolls around. Caleb gets worse. JJ gets better. And then JJ leads them to winning that game, ultimately. And Caleb looks terrible. He's missing guys left and right. Legit like a walk-in touchdown. If he completes that to DJ Moore, they score. But he overthrows him so badly. Misses all these throws late in the progressions. Can't see the field. Can't read the field. It's like, what's going on? Like, this was the number one pick. And he just lost to J.J. McCarthy, who played his first game in the NFL on Monday. Like, it was just like insane. I could not believe it. If you're a Bears fan and you just lost to J.J. McCarthy and you have Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, you got to be kicking yourself. You got to be like, what the heck is going on? Why did we lose that? How could we possibly have lost that game? And then you got to just remember, like, right, Ben Johnson, this is his first year as a head coach, right? He's a good offensive coordinator, but is he going to be a really good head coach? We still have to see and find that out. But we know Kevin O'Connell is a very good head coach. And whatever he said to JJ, whatever he did to calm him down, whatever he said, how he coached him to get the best out of him, he received that very well. And he came back in that second half and played absolutely incredible. You have to admit that. And watching that unfold, that comeback happen was just, crazy to watch. But like, it just shows you how good of a coach, Kevin O'Connell is and how coachable J.J. McCarthy is. So, yeah, it looked kind of bad for Vikings fans at the beginning, but like, once he settled down, once he, saw the field, once he just started completing his passes, through touchdown passes, it's like, whoa, what the heck do we have here? Is this like the second coming of like Peyton Manning? Like, this is crazy, So, I mean, like, if you're a Vikings fan, you got to be super happy about how your team battled back in that situation from looking like an absolute disaster to just winning that game. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening, for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.